Okay, today we're going to do our Unit 4, Notes number 11, which is our application problems. So these will be our word problems. There are quite a few word problems for this test, so you got to bear with us. So anytime we're given a word problem, the first thing we got to do is we got to go through and read it. It says, Mrs. Mariani starts the year with 500 pencils. Each month, she loses 25 pencils. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents how many pencils Mrs. Mariani has as a function of the number of months. Be sure to define your variables. So we have two numbers. So she starts the year with 500 pencils. And each month, she loses 25 pencils. So if she starts the year with 500 pencils, that means at 0 months, she has 500 pencils. So if you guys remember, this is going to be our y-intercept. And then each month, so that's what's happening each month. She's losing 25 pencils. So negative 25 is going to be our slope, because she's losing that. So if we have those two numbers, we know we can write our equation of y equals negative 25x plus 500. Now, we still have to define our variables of x and y. So our x, what are we changing each time? That's the number of months. Our x is always going to be a number of something. And kind of remember back to the first part of this unit where we had to do the graph. The x-axis is always the number of days, number of weeks, number of months. And then our y, if I were to plug in how many months it is to our equation, the y would give me my total number of pencils. So total pencils. So that's what I mean whenever we say define our variables. Now the next question says, after 5 months, will Mrs. Mary still have 400 pencils? So this 5 is our x value. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in. We're going to plug in 5 for x. So you're going to have y equals negative 25 times 5 plus 500, and you can type that into your calculator. You will get y equals 375 pencils. So after 5 months, will she still have 400 pencils? No, she will have 375 pencils. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions on that. We're going to move on to the next one. It says, Anna is mowing lawns for a summer job. For every mowing job, she charges an initial fee. So an initial fee of $10 plus $5 per hour. Write an equation to represent the situation. Be sure to define your variables. So if she charges an initial fee, is she going to charge that more than once? No. So $10 is our y-intercept. Now, if she's charging $5 per hour, 5 is going to be our slope. So writing our equation, it's going to be y equals 5x plus 10. Now we have to define our variables. We have our x and our y. Our x is going to be number of hours because that is what is going to change our value each time. And then our y, if you think about, okay, if I tell you how many hours I'm going to work, what will y tell me? That is going to be the total for each job. Because if she says she's going to work for 5 hours, if I plug that into my equation, I know that she's going to earn, or that's going to be the total of the job, how much it's going to cost or how much she's going to earn. So if she earned $725, is it possible she worked 125 hours that summer? So 725, this is what we're going to plug in for y. And we're going to see, does it equal this? Or you could plug in 125 for x and see if it equals this. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to do it 2 different ways for you guys. So the first way is you can plug in 725 for y and solve for x. Subtract 10. You get 715 equals 5x. Divide by 5. 715 divided by 5 is going to give you 143. So that means she worked 143 hours. So the answer would be no. And then the other side, you can plug in 125 for x. So you're going to get y equals 5 times 125 plus 10. You're going to get y equals 5 times 125 is going to give you 625. 625 plus 10. It's going to give you 635. So, did she work 125 hours? No, because she worked less than that, or she worked more than that in order to get $725. Give a reasonable domain to represent the above situation. Your domain is your x value. So our x value is our number of hours. Can she work 0 hours? Yes. Can she work negative hours? No. Can she work way more than 0 hours? Yes. So you could either write it in words as x values bigger than 0, or you can write it as x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions over any of that. We're going to move on to example 3. It says Maddie joins a CD club. She pays $15 for the membership and $6 for each CD that she buys. If this equation is created to determine the total cost, what does 6 represent? So 15 is a one-time membership fee. So this is our y-intercept. And then $10 is for each. So no matter how, it'll keep going up depending on how many CDs. So this is our slope. So what does 6 represent? It'll represent our slope. We will not use coefficient and we will not use y-intercept. So it's either going to be slope or y-intercept. And you guys have to differentiate in between the two. Okay, next page is kind of a review. It says find the slope of the line that passes through the points 6, -2, and 3, -2. So this is where we have to create our table. So from -2 to -2, we're going up 0. From 6 to -3, we're going down 3. So our slope is 0 over -3. If you type in 0 divided by -3 into your calculator, you're going to get 0. So our slope is 0. So remember that anytime we're given 2 points to find the slope, we got to put them into a table. Okay, now we have to use the graph to answer the following questions. This is one of our trickier problems. You really have to be able to look at your graph and interpret what it's saying. Use your labels on your x and y axis and make sure you know what values they're going up by. So it says the graph shows the relationship between the number of weeks and Rip Van Winkle's beard length in millimeters. Find the rate of change and explain what it represents. So we have to find our slope. So we're going to find 2 points, which is going to be, okay. And I am happy to verify these points. So here's a point down here is our y-intercept. Then another point would be right about here. So I had to figure out how many did I rise and how many did I run. So I rose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. Now each of these boxes is going up by 5. So I really rose 25 boxes. Then I ran over 1, 2, 3, 4. But 4 is running over 5 and then 10. So my slope is 25 divided by 10, which equals 2.5. So find the rate of change and explain what it represents. So if you guys remember our y value, and use your label from your y-axis, our y value is his beard length. And then our x value is weeks. So we're going to have beard length over weeks. It's the same as saying like y over x. So if I have 2.5, this is the same as 2.5 over 1. So his beard length is 2.5 millimeters. Or grows 2.5 millimeters. Grows 2.5 millimeters every week. Okay, so that is what it means to interpret our slope and state what it is. Now the next day is state the y-intercept and explain what it represents. So our y-intercept is right here at 10. So 0, 10. What does this mean? So look at your x values, number of weeks. So at 0 weeks, because our x is weeks, and our y is beard length. So this means at 0 weeks, his beard is 10 millimeters long. Okay, and then the last part says write an equation that represents the situation. So we have our y-intercept, which is 10. This is our b value. We have our slope, which is our m value. So y equals 2.5x plus 10. Okay, we are going to do more practice on these problems, so beware of that, but make sure you guys know how to find the slope and interpret it. And if you need any help, please let us know. Okay, you guys can get started on your homework. Let us know if you guys have